Okay, so like imagine this. You're a researcher
Mm,
and you've got this incredible AI assistant
right.
that can help you come up with,
Yeah.
the coolest research ideas,
Mm-hmm.
not just any ideas,
Mm.
but ones, specifically tailored to you,
Yeah.
your interests, and drawing on
Wow.
millions of research papers. It can even like
Okay.
predict how impactful your work could be. Sounds a bit like sci-fi, right?
It
What?
does, but it's not as far off as you might think.
Exactly. And that's actually what we're diving into today. A
Okay.
brand new research paper,
Oh, right.
straight from the Archive Press, January 7th, 2025.
Fresh off the press.
It's
All
called
right.
Interesting Scientific Idea Generation Using Knowledge Graphs and LLMs,
Okay.
Evaluations with 100 Research Group Leaders.
And what's really cool about this paper is that it's not just theoretical. They actually built a system and tested it out with real people.
So they put it to the test in the real world.
They did,
Yeah.
with over 100 research group leaders.
That's awesome. But before we get into the results,
Sure.
break it down for me. What exactly is this system
Okay.
and how does it work?
So the system is called SciMuse, and essentially
Use.
it uses a massive database of 58 million research papers
Oh,
to generate research ideas. Think of it kind of like a giant map
okay.
of all scientific knowledge, where each point on the map
Uh,
represents a concept, and the lines connecting them show how those concepts are
Okay.
related.
so it's not just like spitting out random ideas.
Oh,
It's actually like looking for connections between existing research.
yeah. And here's where it gets even more interesting. They use this really powerful language model called GPT-4
GPT-4.
to actually generate the research ideas based on this kind
Yeah.
of map of scientific knowledge.
GPT-4. That's the AI everyone's been talking about, right?
Yeah, the very same. And the really cool thing is that it can tailor these ideas for collaborations. So, like, let's say you're a physicist working on, I don't know, X-ray imaging,
X-ray imaging. Okay.
and you want to team up with someone who studies light-induced phase transitions.
Sounds pretty niche.
It is. But SciMuse can actually pinpoint potential connections between those two seemingly unrelated fields and actually suggest ideas that
Cool.
bridge them.
So it can find those hidden gems, those connections that might not be obvious to us.
Exactly. And the results are really pretty remarkable. They generated over 4,400 research ideas
Wow.
using SciMuse, and they asked these research group leaders to rate them based on how interesting they were, and almost 25% of the ideas were rated highly interesting.
That's a pretty good hit rate, I'd say,
Yeah.
for an AI, right?
Yeah.
But what exactly makes a research idea, quote, interesting in this
Mhm.
context? Was it like all about groundbreaking potential?
Mhm.
Or, was there something else going on there?
Well, that's what's so great about this paper. They actually dug into the data
Okay.
to see what characteristics made an idea really stand out. Yeah.
To those researchers. And what they found was that the most interesting ideas actually often came from connecting concepts that were less connected in the knowledge graph.
Wait, so the less we know about something,
Yeah.
the more interesting the research potential.
It's
That's kind of counterintuitive.
It is. It really challenges that assumption that the best research just builds on what we already know.
Turns out there's a lot to be said for exploring the unknown. Like, you know that feeling when
Yeah.
you stumble upon like a hidden gem in a sea of information?
Yeah.
That's kind of what this is all about.
Like finding that hidden gem,
Mm.
venturing off the beaten path a bit.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty cool.
Mm.
But hold on. They had over 100 researchers looking at thousands of ideas.
Right.
How did they even keep track of all of that data?
Well, that's where the AI's predictive power comes in. They use two different methods to try and predict which
Okay.
research ideas would be rated as most interesting by the human experts.
Wait, I'm all ears. How'd they do that?
So the first method involved training what's called a neural network
Okay.
to recognize patterns in the data that correlated with high interest ratings. Think of it like an AI apprentice,
Okay.
learning from the masters,
Interesting.
trying to figure out
Yeah.
what makes a research idea exciting to humans.
So this neural network was basically trying to like mimic human judgment.
Yeah, essentially.
What about the second method?
So the second method was even more fascinating. They basically asked GPT-4 to rank the ideas in terms of interest, but
Mhm.
without any specific training on what humans find interesting.
So they just let GPT-4 go wild.
They kind of just threw it in the deep end and said, okay, tell us what you think is cool.
Did it actually work?
You bet it did.
Yeah.
Both methods were surprisingly accurate, especially when it came to picking out the top few most interesting ideas. Of course, the neural network
Right.
performed a bit better. But even GPT-4's performance was impressive, especially considering it was working without a net, so to speak.
That's incredible. If AI can predict what we find fascinating,
Yeah,
that could be a game changer for researchers, right?
absolutely. Think about it, no more sifting through mountains of research papers trying
Yeah.
to figure out what's worth pursuing.
Right.
AI can do the heavy lifting for you, highlighting the most promising avenues for exploration.
This is uh this is blowing my mind a little bit.
Yeah.
So what does this all mean for the future of research?
Yeah.
Could SciMuse and similar systems
Yeah.
actually revolutionize the way we do science?
That's the million-dollar question. The researchers believe that this could lead to a surge in collaborations between scientists from totally different fields.
Okay.
Imagine researchers from, say, physics and music coming together because an AI spotted a hidden connection
Right.
between their work.
That would be pretty wild. Breaking down those barriers
Yeah.
between disciplines could lead to some truly
Yeah.
groundbreaking discoveries.
Exactly. And they even speculate that AI could eventually drive the entire scientific process.
Whoa, hold on. AI running the whole show. That's
It's a big leap.
even for me, that's a pretty big leap.
It is.
Okay.
But while we're not quite there yet, it's definitely a fascinating possibility to consider. But before we get too carried away with the future.
Yeah, let's bring it back down to earth a bit.
Right.
What can our listeners take away from all of this?
Well, for those of you who are researchers, this is kind of a glimpse into the future of your profession. AI-powered tools like SciMuse could change the way you work,
Right.
offering new ways to explore ideas and collaborate with others. And for those of you who aren't researchers, this is just a reminder that AI is changing the world around us in ways we're only just beginning to understand.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we've been talking about AI that can, like, not only help us come up with research ideas,
Right.
but also predict which ones are most likely to, like, grab our attention.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing. It also raises some questions, doesn't it?
Absolutely. For example, what does this mean for researchers who are used to relying on their own intuition and experience
Right.
to come up with research ideas?
Are we going to see a future where, like, everyone is just chasing the same AI-generated hot topics?
Yeah,
Does this mean, like, human creativity is out the window?
that's a valid concern, but I think it's important to remember that AI is a tool. It's not a replacement for
Okay.
human ingenuity.
Yeah.
And I think instead of stifling creativity, it actually has the potential to enhance it.
Okay, I'm listening. How so?
Well, think about how SciMuse works. It connects seemingly disparate concepts, drawing links that we might miss, and that spark of connection, that aha moment, that's really
Yeah.
at the heart of creativity, isn't it?
So you're saying AI could actually be a catalyst for human creativity,
I think so, yeah.
helping us to see things in new ways, make connections we wouldn't have made on our own. I like that.
Exactly. Imagine having a brainstorming partner who's read every research paper ever published, right?
Wow.
They can throw out wild ideas, challenge your assumptions, and help you break free from conventional thinking.
That's a pretty cool way to think about it. It's like having an AI research buddy,
Yeah.
always pushing you to think outside the box.
Yeah.
But let's be realistic.
Right.
Not every researcher has access to these
Yeah.
cutting-edge AI systems.
Mm-hmm.
Could this create a divide between those who have the resources and those who don't?
That's a really important point, and it's something we need to be very mindful of as AI becomes more integrated into the scientific process. It's crucial to make sure that these tools are available to all researchers, regardless of their institution, their funding, or
Right.
field of study.
So it's not just about, like, developing the technology.
Right.
It's also about making sure it's accessible to everyone.
Yeah.
That makes sense. But even if we solve the access problem,
Mm-hmm.
there's still the question of, like, human judgment, right? Who decides which AI-generated ideas
That's right.
are worth pursuing?
Exactly. As AI systems become more sophisticated,
Yeah.
we need to be very clear about who's making the decisions
Mm-hmm.
and what values are guiding those decisions. We don't want to just blindly follow the AI's recommendations without thinking critically about
Right.
the implications.
So it's not just about, can we do this research?
Right.
It's also about, should we do this research?
Yes.
And what are the potential consequences, both good and bad?
Precisely. And remember, the paper also highlighted the AI's ability to predict the potential impact of research ideas. So, like how likely they are to be cited
Right.
and influence future work. And this could be incredibly valuable for
Yeah.
funding agencies who are always looking for ways to invest in the most promising research.
That's interesting. So instead of relying on
Yeah.
gut feelings or past performance, funding decisions could be based on
Yeah.
data-driven predictions about the future.
Yeah.
That could really shake things up.
It could definitely change the game. But let's go back to those researchers who evaluated the AI generated ideas. What made certain ideas stand out to them? Was it all about novelty and impact?
Yeah, I'm curious about that too.
Or were there other factors at play?
And what did they find?
Well, remember how we talked about how ideas connecting very different fields were seen as less interesting?
Yeah.
There's actually more to that finding.
Right.
While combining, drastically different fields might not always work, there's some evidence that suggests that merging ideas from moderately distant fields, like physics and chemistry, for instance,
Oh.
can be incredibly productive.
So it's not just about how different the fields are, but about finding that sweet spot
Yeah.
where the expertise from one field can genuinely contribute to the other.
Mm-hmm.
It's like finding those unexpected but plausible connections.
Exactly. It's about pushing the boundaries of knowledge without going so far that the connection becomes meaningless. But even with AI's help, isn't there always a risk of pursuing research that,
Yeah.
leads nowhere?
That's a good point. Not every research idea, whether it comes from a human or an AI,
Right.
is going to lead to a major breakthrough. That's just the nature of science.
You're right. Science is all about trial and error, testing hypotheses,
Right.
seeing what works. But what AI can do is help us to prioritize the ideas that are most likely to be successful
Okay.
based on all the knowledge we've accumulated so far.
So it's not about eliminating risk altogether. It's about making smarter bets and increasing our chances of hitting those
Yeah.
scientific home runs. But let's say I'm a researcher who's excited about this whole AI thing.
Yeah.
What can I do today to start incorporating these tools into my work?
That's a great question. While systems like SciMuse might not be widely available just yet,
Right.
there are definitely things you can do to prepare for this AI-powered future. First and foremost, embrace a mindset of lifelong learning. Right, the field of AI is constantly evolving, so stay curious, keep up with the
Yep.
latest advancements.
So brush up on your AI knowledge
Yeah.
and be ready to adapt as new tools emerge.
Yeah.
Makes sense. What else?
Start thinking about how AI could fit into your current research process.
Yeah.
What are your biggest challenges? Do you struggle with keeping up with all the latest research? Are you looking for collaborators in different fields?
Okay.
Could AI help you pinpoint the most promising research questions
Right.
or predict the impact of your work?
So it's about figuring out where AI could be most helpful in your specific research. I like it. But let's be honest,
Right.
not everyone is comfortable with technology.
Yeah.
Some researchers might be hesitant to embrace AI
Mm-hmm.
or even see it as a threat to their expertise.
Right.
How do we address those concerns?
You're right. Not everyone is going to jump on board with this right away. That's where, open communication
Yeah.
and education come in. We need to have honest conversations
Right.
about the potential benefits and challenges of AI in research. We need to debunk those myths and misconceptions about
Right.
AI replacing human researchers.
So it's about building trust and showing that AI can be like a
Yeah.
valuable partner in the pursuit of scientific knowledge. But let's not forget about our listeners who might not be
Right.
researchers themselves. Why should they care about any of this?
That's a great point. For anyone who's curious about the world and how it works,
Yeah.
AI-powered research is something to be excited about.
Yeah.
It has the potential to really speed up scientific discovery and lead to breakthroughs
Right.
that could benefit us all.
So it's not just about science for science's sake.
Right.
It's about using science to solve real world problems
Exactly.
and improve our lives.
Whether it's developing new medical treatments, finding more sustainable energy sources, or deepening our understanding of the universe, AI is poised to play a major role in shaping our future.
This has been such an eye-opening conversation.
It has.
We've covered a lot of ground from the inner workings of SciMuse to
Mhm.
the broader implications of AI for the future of science. But there's still so much more to explore. We've been talking about how AI could revolutionize research,
Right.
generating those ideas,
Yeah.
predicting their impact.
Yeah.
But let's dive into some of the deeper questions here.
Okay. Yeah.
We've talked about the practical stuff, but
Uh-huh.
what does this mean for the nature of discovery
Right.
when AI starts to play a larger role?
Yeah.
What happens to our intuition,
Hmm.
human creativity?
It's interesting. It's almost like AI could actually enhance human creativity
Okay.
rather than replace it.
How could AI make us more creative?
So think about how SciMuse works.
Mm.
Connecting those seemingly unrelated ideas, drawing those links, those aha moments, that's creativity.
So instead of replacing our creative spark,
Yeah,
AI could actually fan the flame,
exactly.
help us to see things in new ways, make
Mhm.
connections we wouldn't have made on our own.
Yeah, like having brainstorming partner who's read every research paper ever published.
Right.
They can throw out these wild ideas, challenge those assumptions, push you to think outside the box.
Like an AI creativity coach
Yeah.
in your corner.
Exactly.
But even if AI helps us refine ideas,
Right.
there's still the question of judgment.
Yeah.
Who decides which ideas are worth pursuing?
Right.
Who sets the research agenda?
Mm.
Do we hand over the reins to the machines?
That's where things get really interesting, right? As these AI systems become more powerful,
Mm.
we need to be really careful about who is making those decisions
Right.
and what values are informing those decisions. We can't just blindly follow those AI recommendations
Yeah.
without thinking critically about,
The bigger picture,
derivative.
not just can we do this research,
Yeah,
but should we?
right.
And what are the consequences?
Precisely.
Intended and unintended.
All right, we need ethical frameworks for AI-powered research, just like we have for human-led research.
Yeah.
And we need to involve a diverse group of people in those conversations.
Okay.
Not just scientists and engineers, but, ethicists, social scientists,
You
the
think
public.
AI is forcing us to confront
It is.
some really fundamental questions about what it means to do science,
Yeah.
how we make decisions as a society.
Exactly. I think AI is going to be a catalyst for some really important conversations
Yeah.
in the coming years. But, it's important to remember that AI is a tool. It's up to us to decide how we use it
Right.
and what kind of future we want to create.
I think that's a great point to end on. This has been an amazing deep dive into AI-powered research.
It really has.
We've talked about the incredible potential of these new tools,
Mm,
but also the challenges and ethical considerations that come with them.
for sure.
AI is going to play a huge role in shaping the future of science,
Absolutely.
and it's going to be an exciting ride.
It is.
To all our listeners, we want to hear from you. What are your thoughts on AI and the future of science? What research questions would you ask an AI to tackle?
Yeah.
Join the conversation and let us know.
We're all in this together, exploring the uncharted territory of AI-driven discovery. Let's embrace this journey with curiosity and responsibility and see where it leads.
That's it for this deep dive. We'll be back soon with another deep dive into the most fascinating topics that are shaping our world. Until then, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep learning.